Well, I've been asked about how they would handle, or how someone would handle a speeding fine. If you're learning this, all the law and legislature, and want to know a bit more about how society works, first thing you need to do is buy a dictionary, buy a law dictionary, understand the meanings of the words. Then what I did, I got when I got pulled over by Neil on the 21st of November in 2014, when he ran onto my foot. Um, he'd pulled me over for doing 65 in a 50k area, or 67 in a 50k area, which was a $170 ticket, and he also charged me $55 for failure to produce a driver's license, when he never once required me to produce anything. Um, I told him I was happy to produce it, and he wasn't giving me any orders to do so. So, if you're familiar with that case, this is all the paperwork to do with it. Now, I've been asked by a couple of subs that are just learning and want to know. And this is the best way to do it. Throw yourself into it. It's a ticket. It's not like you're going and defrauding millions. It's a speeding ticket and a parking ticket. Now, the way it works is, if you, through your person, have a driver's license, then you are obligated, through the existence of that license, to adhere to the Land Transport Act. That's how it works, through representation, okay, i.e. through your person. So, first off, what I did is I got sent these lovely notices, and this is the police reference numbers that they put on it when they send them to you. I got the 2 infringement reminders, okay. One is here, the 170 for the speeding, the other one there, 55 for failure to produce, okay. So that's those two to begin with. Now, what I did is I responded to each of these back to the New Zealand Police, and for the speeding one, for the failure to produce a driver's license one, what I wrote was, to whom it may concern, we, now I'm saying we, us, our, because they're referring to me as a you, they're referring to me as a plural, so I'm going to respond as a plural, okay? So we refer to the correspondence regarding PV, and that's just the infringement number. New Zealand Police do allege against our person and my person's name, which we received on the 5th of January. So first of all, you're acknowledging that you've received something from them. Then I put, we gladly accept, because you always want to stay in honour. You never want to refuse anything. You want to accept everything, but with proof of obligation and authority. So, we gladly accept the claim by New Zealand Police against the person, Mark Donald Eric Keane, for the value provided, for value. Okay, so I'm accepting it for value, provided New Zealand Police can verify this claim with proof. Therefore, we formally elect for and request a court hearing to discuss this matter, as we believe that Neil Winterbottom, while acting in his capacity as a constable, has made this allegation in error. Note that our records show that you, when asked, had been identified as Constable Neil Winterbottom, because first thing I said was, who are you? And he said, Constable Neil Winterbottom. During that alleged moment in time, the allegation states in that you, Neil Winterbottom, failed to produce your driver's license for inspection without delay after being required to do so by an enforcement officer. Now, my whole argument here was purely a semantical one. Neil had only identified you as Constable Neil Winterbottom. At no time had any man identified himself as an enforcement officer. At no time had Neil required for myself to produce your driver's license for inspection. This was clarified at the time on video. Neil stated he believed I had broken the law, however, when questioned further, changed it to a rule. Which is it? Who say I do wrong? Who say I broke the law? Neil also admitted also committed assault against myself with his motor vehicle and then fled. Is this normal procedure to commit vehicular assault and then flee? When being asked simple questions, Neil was unable to explain what an offence was to myself. Is an offence a wrong? He also stated that he believed he had authority over myself, a man, No joinder had been established between myself, a man, and any person, and as he uttered at the time, "I don't even know who you are," how can this allegation against us be valid? At that moment in time, I offered gladly to accept any order he wished. However, he stated he was not giving me any orders to produce or perform. We only wished to discuss this matter to avoid any controversy or conflict in the future. As a result of Neil's actions while acting in his professional capacity, I now have fear and alarm of being further harassed by Neil, privately or publicly, and are currently working through the complaints process with the IPCA over his actions, which swept it completely under the rug. The entire interaction showing speed areas as well as the assault was video recorded and has been posted for public scrutiny on YouTube. This can be found simply by searching for Neil Winterbottom on the YouTube search engine, as there are a few clips dated 21st of November 2014 refers to this matter. Okay, so that was the response to the failure to produce a license, and then we've got one again where I just similar talk in regards to the speeding infringement. I responded to both of them individually. They're both individual charges, so I'm treating them as such. In response, they sent me back, the two infringements, notices of hearings, okay, and then the response on the 28th of January 2015 from them. Dear Sir, infringement number, blah blah blah. Thank you for your letter requesting a court hearing, because I had elected for a court hearing on that matter. Please find an attached notice of hearing, SP 10A, which details the time, date and place that you are required to attend court. That's these things. Okay. Your first appearance on this matter. Also attached is a copy of the police prosecution file, because I asked for any and all documents in regards to the matter. I asked for proof. If you intend to plead, 1, you can advise the court in writing and not appear, although the word appearance is a novation or memorandum. It is a piece of paper. The word appearance has nothing to do with a physical man or woman being in a physical location. It is a notice or memorandum, legally speaking. If you intend to plead, a firm trial date will be provided when you appear. You will be required to attend on the trial date provided by the court. To reiterate, it is not necessary for you to attend on the court, showing that, in other words, they don't want you to show up so they can have summary judgment. Alright. As you have requested a court hearing, you no longer have the option of paying the prescribed fee to the police. So they only deal with the fees. They're just the bitches at the bottom. Now we're going to court. That's where you get your court costs of $30 per allegation or per infringement added to it. And then of course you get this infringement notice. Okay, a little summary of facts from Neil. This 3-page summary of facts from Neil wasn't signed, wasn't witnessed, wasn't dated. It was just a pretty story without anybody backing it. This is all crap. Everything they send you before the court hearing date is meant to scare and intimidate you in some fashion. The judge will tell you, or the JP will tell you, when that court hearing's happening, or the defended hearing date actually comes. Everything that happened before doesn't matter. He's hearing the case now. That's the facts and matters that he'll deal with. It doesn't matter what you've done prior. Alright? So you'll get the little summary of facts. Notes made at time by officer. This is something that the cop can refer to on the stand. Now, if you wrote yourself notes, unless you state these were notes that you made directly after the time of the incident, don't say I reviewed something 2 months later on the video and took notes then. These are notes that you must make at the time or straight after the time of the incident. So you can then legally refer back to them. If you don't say or specify that they are notes that you made at the time, then you won't be allowed to refer back to them. Just a little helpful hint there. And these are all just notes that Neil made Now, what else they send you? Now, this is ironically, Neil was the witness. He's also the officer in charge, as far as the police are concerned. But then when it gets handed over to police prosecutions, he then becomes the witness for the police, as opposed to the officer in charge of the infringement. Okay, he's passed the buck. This is where Senior Neil, good old Neil, 6 Paul Street in Warkworth, that's the police in Warkworth, had to send me dependent disclosure documents, okay? Doc lock number and all the rest, the CRN, court reference number, and it'll be all about your PPN, or your personal profile number. In accordance with the requirements of Section 13-1 of the Criminal Disclosure Act 2008, enclosed is a copy of all relevant information held on the police investigations prosecution other than already disclosed, or information withheld under Sections 15 and 18 of the Criminal Disclosures Act 2008. See, criminal. This is a criminal court, or they put it all under the criminal. It's not civil. You might argue it's a civil matter, it's a contract argument, it's about a driver's license, but they turn it into criminal, or quasi-criminal. Alright? And this is where he can apply in writing for additional information under Section 14(1) of the Criminal Disclosure Act to the officer in charge. And look at that, they gave me Neil's email address. For any policeman's email address in New Zealand, as long as you know their name, i.e. Neil Winterbottom, all you've got to do is add at police.govt.nz. So say it's Bob, your uncle. So Mr. Bob, your uncle, his email address would be bob.youruncle@police.govt.nz. So if you need to send an email to a policeman and you know his name, that's how you do it. Now you get a disclosure index here. Okay, tells you all about the things that you're getting. Notice of hearings, which was the 2 notices I showed you. Caption summary, which was the summary of facts. Witness list, proficiency certificate, radar certificate, license status, instruments of authorization. Okay, speedo certificate, daily logbook, statement, previous history, demerit list, infringement notices, and disclosure letter. Alright, and that's signed. That's signed by Neil, but he won't sign his own statement because he knows it's full of shit. Okay, then we get another copy of the infringement sent to us here. Okay, caption summary. This is the 3-page statement that Neil made, so we've seen that one. We've seen the notes made by the officer at the time. Then you have this statement, I, Neil Winterbottom, state, and it's a 3-page fanciful story without a signature or a date or witnessed by anybody else. No witness initials here, it's just bullshit. Okay, then you get your demerit points and the license history suspension. How much of a naughty boy have I been? They even give you my criminal. Yeah, look, I've got a criminal history. I mean, this shit goes back some. Let's look at this one here. What's the earliest one I've got? 1990. A whole 27 years ago, disqualified from driving, 4 months reparation. I hit an intellectually handicapped guy on a wheelchair in a Fiat Bambina on a pedestrian crossing after he wheeled out in front of me. Okay? And yes, we all do things stupid when we're kids. That was certainly not one of my favourite. But yeah, there's all sorts of criminal history and traffic history. They send you all of this shit to scare you. Then they give you a witness list. Now this one, this is your proof of authority. This is a formal statement, a formal written statement from the New Zealand Land Transport that states on the 11th of February 2015 that this guy here, Leslie Davis, will certify that there is a current driver's license in existence for me to use through my person. That is the proof of authority. Okay? Then we have instrument of authorization. So this is to the people all saying that certified and true compliance documents as far as their certificates of accuracy are for the car, for its odometer, and for the radar, for the stalker DSR, for the radar equipment. Okay, they even send you a pretty little certificate of proficiency from Neil. Gosh, what a smart boy. He's got a certificate. They even send you the radar logbook to show you that it was tuned in at a certain time and all the rest of it. Okay. They send you all of that. Now the statement not being signed, of course I started getting a hold of James Gallagher, who was the prosecutor in this regard. I send James a notice here telling him that I'd like a signed sworn statement. Apparently you guys don't have to have one. Before something like a traffic offence, they're not required to produce a signed statement or an affidavit of facts in any way, shape or form. Yeah. Then I also sent James here a signed sworn affidavit. Now for all of those people that want to know what it actually looks like, an actual authentic document looks like, not like one of these warrants you see bailiffs passing off without signed and stamps. This is how they're supposed to do it. You have a sworn at on this date of that year. You have the JP will put their stamp on it. They will then sign it. Justice of the peace underneath, and then that there, the district court, is because I also handed a copy into the North Shore District Court for the record on that case. Certified to be a true copy, signed and dated. So I got it, this document, which is the attached document, in other words my statement of facts, statement of fact affidavit from me, each time dated and signed. This is what proper documentation looks like, people. Okay? However, in that court setting, it didn't make any difference whatsoever. But just so we all know, sworn at, printed name, okay, they usually have a stamp, and then they'll sign it as well, Justice of the Peace. That is what a true, and they'll even have this little stamp here, alright, which is their JP stamp. So you have printed name, signed name, date, where, and their stamp. And then I've gone and signed it and put my thumbprint on it as well. It was in red ink, it's just a photocopy. Okay? And then I got all of my photocopies, then that's actual ink where I got the district court to verify my copies that they had one, the other ones had one, and so on. So there's a paper trail that can't be argued with. Alright? And that was my statement that I took directly verbatim from the video. Now, I handed this to them. It made bugger all difference as far as I'm aware. The whole point was that I have a driver's license, that's that. Okay? They've just got to prove that we were there at the same time. Me and Neil were actually present on there at that place at that day, and that Neil was using that equipment, and then that's that. You know? If I didn't have a driver's license, then they can't enforce it. And that's been verified by the Ministry of Justice when I've called them. You know, I did things like Carl Wentz and his stuff, you know, notice I, a man, are ready to settle any debt with any woman upon that I may have trespassed upon. You know, tried doing this stuff with them. It doesn't really work. You know, I, a man, do not understand legalese, legal meanings, terms and conditions, customs within the legal society. I rescind anything I have said and or have not said. All of my actions and or inactions that I may have indicated that I am other than a man, or that I am in any type of jurisdiction other than a common law court of record. I say here and will verify in open court that all herein be true. That sort of shit, okay? They don't care. You know, even something like this where I'm stating and making a declaration that that is my vehicle, that's my car, that's my property, okay? There may be a plate on there, but that's their plate. You have to give it back when you deregister your cars, don't you? You don't get to keep them because it's not your property. Okay, or throw them away. Chucked in the old birth certificate just for proof that Mr. King was present. And then we have like the motion to dismiss. I put in a motion to dismiss because I'm not a member of their society. Tried doing that sort of thing, didn't work. Again, that was for both I handed all of these in at the day. They were ignored. Okay, and in the end result, that's what happened. The JP took the $170 ticket down to $100. So he knocked $70 off, and then he added $30 per infringement court costs. So got 70 off, added 60, so instead of just paying $225 for the initial fines, I spent 6 months recording every step of the way, learning a shitload of law, holding all of their feet to the fire, driving them all absolutely mentally insane, trying to teach just a layman what's going on here. I'm just asking questions. And I spent over 4 hours in a courtroom arguing this, and I didn't even get to play my video because the court system weren't able to play an MP4 video file. How ridiculous. Take your own shit in if you need to play your video. Do not expect them to know how to do it. Yeah. So I considered it a win. And in the end, of course, I get sent a letter asking for my consent or authority to allow them to have some money. So again, when they send you a notice of the fines like you do here, I just ring them up and say I'd be happy to accept their claim. How does $5-10 a week strike you? They have to accept that because that's my best offer. They can't say, oh sorry, no, we've got to have $30 or $40. Their corporation does not have a lifespan. That corporation can keep a debt rolling in so long as you're making a constant and regular payment. They don't care. They're not going to die in 4 years. You know, if it takes 10 years, they don't care. You are staying in honour by honouring the debt. The moment you make them an offer and they start refusing that offer and saying it's not good enough, debt's void. You're making your best offer to pay. The debt is void if they won't accept it. It's that simple. Anyway, I hope that helps people out. All I say is, if you get a speeding ticket and you want to learn how to do this stuff, it's a lot of fun. You feel greatly empowered afterwards because of the amount of knowledge that you pick up from it all, and you have a much clearer understanding as to how everybody's controlled in the society you all think you live in. Me, I just go back to basics, just a guy living on Earth, and I'm equal to the rest of yous. If that's hard for most people to grasp, my sympathies to you. Other than that, I hope you're all well, healthy. I hope your family all love yous. And I'll catch up with yous later on. Bye.